Honorable members, the Secretariat, members of the public, may I take this highest opportunity to welcome you to this activity. May I also welcome our nominee, Robert Bob LOYELEI. I therefore want to ask the nominee to confirm himself if he is the Robert that is supposed to be here. So may you please confirm if you are the one we have been expecting this time.
Chair and honorable members and members of the public, I wish to confirm that indeed I am LOYELEI Robert Bob, the one that you're expecting to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Honored members, the Secretariat and the members of the public, we want to make prayer. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of the leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundance favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and the welfare of our county, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Honourable members, good afternoon, honourable members. Sorry. We will have the nominee taking oath, guided by the legal counsel.
I, LOYELEI Robert Bob, do swear by the Almighty God that everything that I shall say in this approval hearing shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, honourable members. I wish to welcome all the members of the Committee on Education, Sports and Social Protection, members of the public, and the nominee to the position of the County Chief Officer, Vocational Training and Sports. Honourable members, the position of the Chief Officer is part of the executive appointments contemplated in Section 45 of County Government Act number 17, of 2012, and the County Assembly is therefore mandated to vet and approve appointments to the respective portfolios. Honorable members, as you are all aware, that the department has 2 nominees in the portfolio of early childhood and social protection and vocational training and sports. The vetting process is approximated to take at most 1 hour and 30 minutes or less for each nominee. According to the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, Section 5(1), the nominee was notified to appear before the relevant sectoral committee of the County Assembly. In this regard, Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017, Section 6(2), the clerk of the County Assembly gave out the notification of nomination on Friday, 7th April 2023 on the Daily Nation newspaper. Section 7(4), the clerk notified the candidate of the time and place for holding the approval hearing. Honorable members, according to Section 16 of Ethics and Integrity Act, read together with the County Assembly of Turkana, Standing Order 101, any member who is likely to be conflicted has to declare the nature of interest, whether fiduciary, personal, proprietary, close family member, or pecuniary. A member who wishes to speak on any matter in which the member has personal interest shall first declare that the interest and the member will neither score nor ask the nominee a question, and will remain silent or opt out of the vetting venue. These proceedings are open to the members of the public, and they are live on HME Radio FM, County Assembly official Facebook page and YouTube channel. Similarly, I would like to draw the attention of the members of the public that during the vetting process, they are required at all times to maintain silence, phones off, and this should be minimal movements that are likely to distract the committee or nominee. The Sergeant at Arms is under strict instructions to eject any person who flouts these orders. I want to make a plea to the nominee to take the shortest amount of time to complete the tasks at hand, be precise and to the point when responding to questions from honorable members. Thank you. Honorable Michael Ekane, the chairperson. Thank you, members. And now, as an instruction, if any person and the panel here has conflicting interest nominee, you are required to stay silent and not to accord any mark. Or if you will not be very comfortable, you you allow us and we continue. Na pia kama kuna mtu yote the panel ambaye anakuwa labda na ushawishi uhusiano na yule tunamhoji, wewe umeombwa usiulize swali au ukiwezekana labda kwa kutoka nje kiasi tu. That's a polite note. So as with regard to that, I think it is clear. Also, the public has spread kwamba wako na sisi hapa, umekaribishwa kuwa na sisi, na kwa hivyo tunaambiwa kwamba simu zote hata kutoka na kuingia tujaribu ku minimize kidogo, ili nominee apate nafasi hiyo na even the panelists waweze kuwa na wakati mzuri. Karibuni nyote. Now, we want to conduct an introduction, and this request honorable members to make brief introductions. I'll start right from my immediate right here.
All protocol observed. I am Lina Chakamai Sabo, nominated MCA, Kenya Delta. I am the vice chair of this committee.
Thank you.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, members of the Secretariat, members of the public present here this morning, our nominee who we are going to vet this morning. My name is Honorable Anaclet Lemuya. I'm the MCA representing the people of the Bekotan ward. I want to welcome all of us to this public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the Secretariat, and the public, our candidate, Francis Gimusia, MCA Letia Ward, member of this committee. You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Francis? Yes.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the Secretariat, our nominee, members of the public, Honorable Fayo Lawrence, Ringipi Ward, and a member of this committee. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, our nominee, members of public who are here today. I'm Honorable Lydia Joy, special elect. I represent people of Capital Mapito Ward. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Chair, fellow and honorable members, the public, and the Secretariat. My name is Martha Longor, special elect, Rubei Kotan Ward, and a member of this committee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
All protocols observed. My names are Michael Ebenedeno, the Honorable Member for Kaloko Ward. Feel welcome, Mr. LOYELEI. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ebenedeno. Shall we also ask the Secretariat in this committee, led by the Secretary, the Clerk?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, Secretariat, our nominee, members of public, I take this opportunity to introduce all the Secretariat. They are situated in different parts of the chamber according to their work, so they will respond by show of hand. I'm Helen Ewoy, Committee Clerk. With us, we have Michael Ochun, answered officer, is in that office. We have Beatrice Aule, Sergeant at Arms. We have Titus Narubu, ICT. There's Millicent Nangor, our legal counsel. We have Bildad Ehale, ICT and media. We have Mark Mekede Lomadanga, media. We have Regan Ebot, Sergeant at Arms. There's Gilchrist Ekal, finance. We have Mary Ekutan, public relations officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk. And now, honored members of the public, I am Ekale Ayemuni Michael, MCA Kaptil Ward, and the chairperson of Education, Sports and Social Protection. Welcome, our nominee. I want to take this very opportunity to welcome you to this session. Feel free, relax. I'm very sure as we made introduction, we had already an interaction. So there are already people you are familiar. So, and we want to conduct this exercise in a very fair manner. So we have already assigned ourselves questions, the panelists. So we have we are starting with the question 1. Okay, that is an introductory part. Our nominee, tell us about yourself, indicating how, but not limited to academic qualifications, competencies and skills, and work experience. That is question 1. Question 2, what is your net worth and current and anticipated sources of income? 3, how do your skills and competencies fit into the position you applied for and nominated? Those are 3 introductory questions. So we have question 1. Tell us about yourself, indicating but not limited to academic qualifications, competencies, and skills and work experience.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, members of the committee, and all protocol observed. My name is Robert LOYELEI Bo. I'm 55 years old. I went to school at LOYELEI High School between the years of 1981 to 1986, where I did both O-level and A-level in the same school. 1987 to 1990, I joined the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture for diploma course in agricultural engineering. Thereafter, I did a degree at Leicester University, graduating in 2010 with a business administration and management degree. Currently, I am an MBA student at Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Gaba campus in Eldoret. I have served in many capacities, Chair. I taught at Kakuma Secondary School in 1992 to 1994. 1994 to 1995, I worked at the Model Irrigation Scheme in Turkana East, then was Turkana South, as an assistant project engineer for the Model Irrigation Scheme under World Vision Kenya. 1995 to 2001, I joined the civil service as a district officer, Office of the President, and served in Uasin Gishu district then, Nakuru, and Kericho districts. Later, I got the opportunity again to work with World Vision Kenya as a district peace monitor for Pokatusa Peace Project 2001 to 2003. That project covered both Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia. 2003 to 2006, I served with the International Committee of the Red Cross in Lokichogyo as a liaison and dissemination field officer for the sub-delegation in Lokichogyo. 2006 to 2010, that is when I went back to school at Leicester University, so I joined employment again in 2010 to 2012, where I served with the Equity Group Foundation as a master trainer for financial education and served in North Rift, based in Eldoret. 2012 to 2016, I was a project manager again with Equity Group Foundation, the famous Wings to Fly Scholarship Program, which benefits bright but needy children. And Turkana County is one of the counties that we serve, and I used to come here even during selection. January 2017 to November 2017, I got the opportunity to work at the county government of Turkana as Deputy Director Administration in the Office of the County Secretary. And between November 2017 and November 2022, I got the opportunity to work as the Deputy County Secretary to Turkana County Government. From 2022 to date, I am a member of the Board of Management for Milimatatu Secondary School. Now, Chair, putting all those into perspective, that work experience and the various competencies that I acquired through training, I feel that I have the right credentials to be able to serve in this particular department for education, for sports and for sports and vocational training, because I have a background in training, as indicated in my work experience, and at the same time, sports.
Thank you, Robert.
I think that was question one.
That was question.
Yes.
Will come.
Yeah.
That will come. What is your net worth and current and anticipated sources of income?
Chair, my net worth will be in the region of 22 million. This is from pieces of land that I have development that I have a house in Turkana, which I put up through a mortgage, which is worth about 4 million. I have a house in Lodwa, where I live, it's also worth about 3.5 million. And I have several undeveloped plots, and my net worth will be slightly over 20 million. I think, sorry Chair, I think the other one is anticipated income sources. Currently, my main, or until when I left formal employment, my main source of income was forced employment. Currently, I have a plot which is being occupied in town, and that plot is the one that gives me about 15,000 monthly, and the rest are not developed.
Thank you. Having worked that long, how do your skills and competencies fit into the position you applied for and nominated?
Thank you, Chair. With the background of training, as I indicated earlier, training is part of, is one directorate that is covered in this department, and that's vocational training. And vocational training, as I did a lot of training in training and management, I feel that the right fit is that I have a background in training, and so when I look at vocational training centers, that will be, I think for me, will be one key area that I will need to focus on, because training means to develop skills. And I think I will look forward to developing those skills for our youth to be able to harness and realize their full potential in the job market. Thank you.
What of the sports area? Was that vocational and sports?
Chair, I love sports personally. I was in my days in school until recently. I participated in sports. I was a good footballer. I played volleyball, badminton, table tennis, among others. I love sports. And this gives me an opportunity to develop talent in sports. And I think we want really to pursue that, to see that our youth and our young men and women will be able to participate in national development through sports. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. Honorable members, we have part B. I want to usher in Honorable Anaklet to take the nominee through that question, that part. Welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mr. Roberts, you've been nominated into the position of Chief Officer, Sports and Vocational Training. I want to ask you a question on sports. You may have heard or seen or realized that Turkana County had begun construction of a sports stadium. This has never been completed. Yet a reasonable amount of resources have been appropriated and deployed for completion of this project. From your background and your CV, you indicated that you worked as the Deputy County Secretary. And I believe as the Deputy County Secretary, you sat in cabinet meetings, and maybe at one point or another, you are part of the Secretariat in the cabinet. And for that reason, I tend to think you are privy to information as relates to the construction of this particular stadium. Maybe you can tell us what occasioned the delay and what you think could be the remedy so that this project gets completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you, Member, Honorable Anaclet. The sports stadium, it was envisaged as LOYELEI Stadium. I know when initially this program was started, this project was started, that between 2021 and 2022, of course, the delay began because of COVID pandemic. And we had a partner in Spain that had joined to assist in the development of this particular project. And one of the earliest things that took place was that they helped us, one, in the designs. The designs are ready for this project. And number two, that the county government has set aside 50 acres of land for this particular project. And so, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, that occasioned the delay. And number two, that until then, the county government was looking for partners as well as internal resources so that we can be able to start this project when we know we've mobilized the same or we've mobilized enough resources, because we didn't want to start a project that was going to be a continuing project forever. So we needed to be able to get partners like Coca-Cola, Safaricom, to bring them on board apart from other partners abroad, including the ones that have helped us to do the designs. So I think currently my plan would be to join with my colleague who has been nominated for the position of Chief Officer for mobilization of county mobilization of resources. So that now, working together, that resource mobilization Chief Officer and myself will look for external sources to be able to fill the gap in terms of resources that are going to help us to accomplish this project. However, we'll start as a department to be able to look for funds internally and see how much we can be able to raise so that we can start this project now that I think the pandemic is over, and we need also to trace back our partner in Spain because they are also going to support us to a certain degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. And usher in the second question by Francis Musia. Welcome, Honorable.
Thank you. My question is that, as you know, Kenya is gearing itself to be a middle income economy by 2030, according to its budget. To achieve this, the government embarked on vocational training to equip the youth with technical skills and create self-employment. The question is, in your opinion, what will you do to ensure that Turkana County moves with the rest of Kenya to achieve the social pillar in the Vision 2030?
Thank you,
Thank you.
Francis. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Honorable Member. First, the social pillar of Vision 2030 aims to improve the quality of life for all Kenyans by targeting a cross-section of human and social projects. And so, in this case, those social projects or programs will include sports. For us as a county, we will need to link ourselves to the national strategy, so that what we'll do is, because we have also the national polytechnics, which vocational centers which have been developed in this county. We have one, I think, in LOYELEI, there's one in Turkana West, there's another one here, there's one in the East. So we need to synergize with the national government and be able to share in terms of competencies, in terms of human resource, and in terms of infrastructure development. Because the county has also put other TVET centers. But a number of things that we need to look at. Number one would be create awareness, because that seems to be lacking across. We need to create awareness. The other one is to provide boarding facilities to vocational training centers, because unless we do that, it will be difficult for students who are already needy to be able to access TVET education. And finally, we need also to subsidize on fees, because fees will be one challenge. So we need to have probably affirmative action so that we can allow even the girls to take advantage of that, of TVET training. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, for that. Next, to usher in Honorable Topayo for the third question. That section.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I feel somehow the nominee, in his own wisdom, might have answered this question. But however, I'll just go ahead to ask. Robert, as you know, and you've said, the national government and the county government have endeavored to put up training, technical training institutes, vocational institutions here in Turkana County. But however, we've experienced low intake. The number of students joining these institutions are very few. In your view, what can the county government do so that we increase interest for students joining these technical institutions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopai. Karibu.
Thank you, Honorable Apayo. I think, as I already mentioned, what we need to do is probably to look at traditional approaches to youth development. And schools and training centers must be youth-friendly, because those are the areas that we need to look at to examine these, so that they can offer market-responsive job training opportunities for our youth. So to do that is to motivate rural-urban migrants, because already we have a number of people who are migrating to the urban. If you look at Lokriama, we have a lot of youth who are coming here. So we need to have motivation of rural-urban migrants and youth to attend TVET in urban areas. And for them to take advantage of that, as I said, is we need to provide boarding facilities, because once they come here, this is not their home. So once we do give them the boarding and ensure that there's affirmative action even from the government, because we need a policy on this, so that we can be able to encourage and motivate them to attend those, is by providing probably fees, so that all of them who come, we provide them with fees and boarding facilities. Number two is that we offer short, flexible, practical courses and identify master trainers. That means these are people who already have the skills to offer on-the-job training, as well as all those unskilled migrants to get advantage that there's somebody who is going to help them as a master trainer. That person will help them to be able to realize that they also have the skills. Third is capacity strengthening of industrial liaison function for TVET. We need to have a capacity strengthening of a liaison function. That means then there must be a connection between the training, job placement, and so on. Because without that, they will come out and then they are nowhere. The other one is we deepen understanding of market demands and link students to industry for internship and job placement. Because there's no need for us to train them and then we give them wakitangatanga. I think the best would be we must link the training, internship, after internship, then we do job placement. That is going to be a complete paradigm shift. And finally, community leaders should influence youth to access training institutions. How? By providing scholarships, affirmative action, which targets girls to seek additional skills and training, because girls are the ones who will forget in terms of TVET. So we need to be deliberate and have an affirmative action. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Robert. Honorable Lydia.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mr. Bob, I have a question on sports matters. You told us you are a very good football player. I know you can answer this best. In our county, we have sufficient talents in all spheres of sports, and yet they are not tapped. My question is, what could be the problem? What will you do to nurture talent in our county if given chance? Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think majority of us who have time to be in Turkana will remember those of footballers like Namoru. We used to have Daniel Achia. There is the one Ayemun who used to call controller. You remember that Ayemun is still here. But I think the latest is there was a young man called Sydney Lokale. Sydney Lokale was identified through the Coca-Cola national event, which also was here, I think, in 2020. And during those sporting activities, Sydney was a very good goalkeeper and was picked. He went to be the youth goalkeeper for the national team. Currently, Sydney is in Norway playing professional football. So what I want to say, Honorable Member, is there's abundance of talent. What we need to do is deliberately let us develop that talent. The how to do it, for example, if it is athletics, we need to link with the training camps in Nandi, Kapsabet, the training camp in Wasilikishu, training camps in Elgeyo Marakwet, in Kaptagat, and so that our team can visit and we find what would it take if we identify the good runners here for them to join those camps. They might say they will give us uniforms, we pay certain money for the upkeep. Why would we do that? Because we have even Turkanas who are athletes by their base in Everett. They have never come. We want to invite them when we have annual sports events so that they can help us to identify those kids. But we need also to know how can our sportsmen and women join those training camps. So for me, is first establish the linkages with those other institutions so that when we do the sub-county events at the county level, we can invite Athletics Kenya, North Rift, for example, to come and help us identify the talent, but they must also promise us how these people can be able to benefit from those camps. That way, we develop a link, then our runners can be able to join them. On football, I think we need to develop the infrastructure within the county by just having the stadium, by having, like Kakuma will very soon give us a stadium through UNHCR. But again, that needs to have a sustainability plan, because somebody gives you a car, if you don't have a sustainability plan, it's going to stop. So we also need to get that, but have a plan to sustain that. So for me is to link up with other partners to be able to tap talent from Turkana to join the rest of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Question 5. Honorable Madam.
Thank you, Chair. My question to our nominee is, the national government presently constituted a sport technical committee dubbed Talanta Ella. And one of its roles is to support the Kenya Academy of Sports in running a national-wide program for identifying, developing of marketing Kenya-based sporting and creative talent from across all the 47 counties. what synergies can the department build to manage sporting activities? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Talanta Hela is under the National Ministry of Sports, and I think the board that was recently launched, we have a representative from Turkana. So, Talanta Hela the board was recently launched, and I think there's somebody from Turkana who sits in that. And I think that already becomes our connection point, that we need to identify that member so that we can link up with that member, because the role of Talanta Hela synergy, which will cover sports, not only sports, but there's also arts, theater, music, because they want to monetize sports. We want to create opportunities for employment through sports. I remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was a boxing match here, which was, there was a lady, a Turkana lady in Australia and Tanzania. And those who are here remember that particular bout was here, and it was, I think, a UBO, unification bout, which was won by a Turkana lady that was written, and it was held here. I think we will need to link up with Talanta Hela so that we see we connect our calendar with the national government calendar, so that what we do as a county fits into the national calendar of sporting activities. And I think once we do that, we should be able to identify talent, including music, film, because all this is possible also in Turkana, but we just need to nurture those talents. Thank you.
Thank you, Bo. Our question 6. Honorable Benyo. Sorry. Honorable Lynette. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, this county has never enacted any legislative to promote sports as an economic activity to improve self-development and county economic growth. If approved, what legislative framework will you propose for consideration by the county assembly?
Thank you, Honorable Abo. I think my very first 2 ones will be that we have a policy framework on improvement of school to work transition. School to work transition, because that's one of the areas that we need to really monitor and see that it is not enough to go to school, but beyond that, you must transition into something. So one of the policies we need to put in place is school to work transition, and the second one is we need to have laws which will address barriers to access and participation by young parents. Young parents are our youth. Young parents and youth with low literacy skills, because we have a lot of our youth with very little literacy skills. So we need to look at all those barriers that prevent them from accessing the skills that they need. Like now, you have people here who have probably certificate in electrical or in building and construction. We need to encourage those people to provide them with an opportunity to be able to pursue that and build to a diploma level, to even a degree level, so that they can have companies to be able to do the job that is there. If it is construction, if it is welding, if it is mechanical, and we need to do that. But I wanted also to add that we need to have a law which provides for us to provide resources for such training and development. We need to provide resources, because that might be one of the areas that we do not have any policy or law which allows us to give money for those people to be able to train and gain skills. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Another question, question 7, Honorable Michael Benyo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. straight to the question. Globally, sports activities have been used to bring dwelling communities together. In some instances, it has achieved a long-lasting solution. Aware of the current internal conflicts between Turkana and the neighboring communities, how can we, as a county, use sports to enhance peace? That is the first question. Second one is, how can we incorporate traditional sports and modern sports to encourage inclusivity? Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome. Oh.
Thank you, Honorable Ebenio. I think peace building is a complex undertaking, and it must be taken as an integrated, or must take an integrated approach. And that is why we are looking at peace meetings alone all the time, not sustainably giving us peaceful coexistence. Because once you do them once or twice, after a short while, we go back. I think sports bring people even closer than when you have a meeting. Because in sports, there is interaction directly when you play sports. So I think what we need is to have cross-border sporting activities. Cross-border means, I remember when I was working with World Vision Kenya, I went to Lorenkipi. I don't know if the headmaster, I can't remember the headmaster, and I presented balls as well as uniforms to Lorenkipi Primary School as part of sports for peace. I think what we need is just to make sure that there is interaction in terms of peace across our bordering communities. And sports will always give people the chance to interact with one another very closely as opposed to meetings. Because in meetings, there are all manner of people there. There are those who sit there, they're just listening, others are not. But in sport, you all participate. Because you'll be forced to say sorry to an opponent if you hurt them, if you are playing football and you offended that player, you want to say sorry. And that brings you closer to that player. How to incorporate traditional sports? This will require that in our annual calendar of events, we need to put traditional sports so that we can draw our local people. Because what we do now is modern sports, but you will need a weighted to be included. We will need to have will be included so that part of our culture is embedded in what we do every time. Because what is happening now, everything we do is modern, but we need also our traditional perspective to be incorporated. So that doesn't look like something that is, what do you call it, is of old age. But the moment you include it, then it will be more appreciated than it is now. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Bob. Now, going to section C on integrity questions. I would invite Honorable an athlete take the nominee through this ABC.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Right away to the questions. Mr. Robert, you are aware of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, issues to do with integrity. And as a public officer, I think the bar has been set by the Constitution. Just want to delve into an aspect of integrity, just to get to understand from you whether you understand the issue of conflict of interest, and what in your understanding, maybe you can explain to us what you think is conflict of interest. That is part A of the question. Part B of the question, in what ways do you think conflict of interest manifests in your past experiences, current experience, and even if you'll be lucky to be appointed to this position? Of course, you'll you will encounter issues to do with conflict of interest. So, in what way do you think conflict of interest will manifest? The third part C of the question, maybe you can give a practical example of your leadership skills when conflict of interest arises under your watch. Say, for example, you've been appointed and then there is a scenario of conflict of interest that arises. Being a leader in that department, how are you going to go about that? Thank you.
Thank you, Anaclet. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Chair. Conflict of interest is a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefit as directly arising from actions or decisions made in the official capacity. So that for me entails what is conflict of interest. Is that person is in a position to derive that benefit just because of a decision that was made in your official capacity. That means in that office that you hold. Now, ways in which that manifests is it comes through even yourself. If you see an opportunity where you think probably you can get money and you think you want to use probably others within the department to be able to get that money, of course that directly is a conflict of interest. Other ways in which it manifests is from friends. Friends can put pressure on you and just ask you that I'm applying for this, and because you are there, I'm sure I will not be able to miss. Relatives can be other ways in which that can manifest. The other bit also is sometimes you can be given a reward. You know, sometimes if you are a public servant or officer, you know, even to get a reward, you're supposed to declare that you got this because it belongs to the office and not the person. So these are some of the ways in which conflict of interest can manifest, it can show. Now, the third part of it is how would you deal with this if it manifests? I think number one is I will need first to talk to the other person or people. You need to talk to people about this. Because sometimes ignorance is part of it on the part of other people. Maybe I know, but the person who comes to me to create a situation of conflict of interest may not know that there is conflict of interest. So I need to talk to the other person. Number two is that I focus on behavior and events as opposed to personality. So I will need to focus on the behavior as well as the events that are taking place so that I can be able to differentiate between what is conflict of interest and what is not. The other one is to listen carefully to what, of course, others may be telling you. You need to listen carefully. I will need to identify points of agreement and disagreements because they will always be there. So I will need to identify if there are points of agreement and disagreement and then prioritize areas of conflict of interest. So once I have prioritized these are the areas that will create conflict of interest, then I must develop a plan to work on each conflict of interest.
Thank you so much, Robert. That is well answered.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Part D is on a general and operational question. I invite Honorable Lawrence to take you through this.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Briefly, what will be your plan for the Department of Vocational Training and Sports if this committee recommends you for approval in the County Assembly? And I'm saying briefly, in terms of 100 days, what will be your plan for the department? Thank you.
Thank you, Rafael. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Honorable Habayo. My very first task in the Department of Sports and Vocational Training would be first is understand the department. What is the department doing? And that will be through meeting the relevant directors or the team in the department so that I understand what is happening, where are they going. And that also will include visits to various projects outside the county so that I have a better picture than what you discuss in the meetings. So I think my priority will be first is get to understand what the department is doing, understand where the gaps are, and then use the team to be able to come up with a plan to address the challenges that may be there.
Thank you, Robert. Members, we are through with this formal paper, and I want to give space to about maybe 3 the general questions to the nominee. You're welcome. Honorable Bayo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My question is, you are aware that in the public domain, we have issues regarding misappropriation of funds. And at one point, some committee members from LOYELEI, where we have one vocational institution, complained of misappropriation of funds by the management of that institution. Now, my question is, what are your measures? Because it seems some of these institutions are a conduit for people to get money. What measures will you take or put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Thank you.
Thank you, Lapayo. Go.
Thank you, Honorable Habayo. I think misappropriation of funds constitutes a criminal offense according to the PFM Act. And so those are some of the things that we need to look at. All our projects, what is the status? So we need first to look at the projects and the status and constitute a team that's going with me to visit the various projects, and especially the vocational training centers, so that we wanted to get to know, because sometimes claims and counterclaims may not be enough. So it will be good also to visit and take time to sit with stakeholders. And stakeholders will be the people from LOYELEI, for example, where that VTC is, so that we can be able to establish the facts. And once the facts are established, of course, due process of disciplinary action will be taken without further delay. In the future, for every project, there must be a project implementation committee. And that committee must be seen to do its work. And that will be the way I would go. So that projects are not left only to contractors, and then you are out, and the way funds are used, nobody follows. So I think for me, is to, because the law allows or mandates that there must be a project implementation committee as part of the implementation process of a project. So without that, then you can get into such requirements. But I think for me, we'll have to have that project implementation committee, which must report regularly. And then we'll also ensure that visits to those projects to see that they are indeed being implemented. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Benyo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mr. Loyeleei, you said you are a football player. I'm also a football player. So in this case, I think we read from the same script. Sports has not been felt across the county. It has not been felt across the county. I think through your department that is supposed to fund sports across our county. Recently, we met a team from your department and they were complaining that they are not funded. They were funded initially, but now I think somewhere along the road, they lost some funding. And this is mostly because, you know, if we give funding to a department and the funding is not felt at the grassroots, in most cases we lose the value for the funds. And we gave some advice. Because there is always something called public participation. Public participation is to us is an extension of the county assembly. And you know, we collect information from the members of the public. That is what we do. We get information from our people that this is what we want, this is what we want. Now that sports is not felt, you know, that information, our public does not tell us we need sports to be funded so that you get funds for the same. Now that you are in this department, what do you think you can do to restore the trust that was there before when the other assembly was funding your department? What do you think you can do to restore that trust? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Bob?
Thank you, Honorable Ebenyo. Sports, like many other activities, require resources. And if sports is not well resourced, then we can have challenges. Because sports is not football alone. Sports is not athletics alone. Sports is not probably table tennis alone. Sports is so wide. You need uniforms, you need shoes, you need probably equipment, you need everything. And that can be very expensive. However, with the support of this committee, I think the first thing is that through a budget making process that involves all stakeholders, we should be able to review why are we not doing well in terms of sports in this county. Why isn't there a feeling of sports in this county? Because recently, I think the inter-county sports took place in Kisumu. And some of us may not know exactly how to we even constitute teams. I think we need to deliberately have an annual plan. Because without an annual plan, how do you even determine what resources you need? You must plan, and during that planning, budgeting is one aspect. So we will need to do an elaborate and deliberate plan to just provide the assembly that probably the resources that we've been getting are not sufficient. Because you remember there is the desert wheelchair race where we've always taken place in Isiolo. And to be able to facilitate a team of 10 or 15 to go to Isiolo requires substantial amount of resources. So I think what we need is to relook at our plan, annual plan of sports. What is it that is going to motivate our sports? Because we can't do everything, we can't do both here. But we need to do football, athletics, things that will activate our teams. I remember the last time some counties were here, there was a team, I think, from Carling that had ladies with beads. And those ladies, I think, almost won, or if they didn't win. Those ladies with beads were motivated just to play football, and that is fine on its own. So I think with this committee, we will work this journey together so that we see where the gaps are, as you advise, so that we can be able to restore the image of sports in this county. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other member? Mr. Question? Right. Members, honorable members, the Secretariat, and the public, we are coming to the end of this session, and we appreciate. We want to thank everybody for coming. And our members of public, we want to thank you. We want to appreciate you for giving company to the nominee. We are so happy. We are happy also as panelists, and I believe that we've done our best. Maybe before we come to the end, perhaps the nominee has also something to express, something to say. So, welcome, Bob. You have something and you want to pass across.
Thank you.
This interview.
Thank you, Chair, and honorable members of this committee. Allow me to express my sincere gratitude to His Excellency the Governor for nominating me and having the confidence that I am the right person to take that department forward. So I want to thank him for giving me that opportunity. Secondly, I want to thank members of this committee, through the Chair, for affording me also the opportunity to appear before you. I don't want to take it for granted. It is something that is special in one's life. And I want to promise that I'll do my best in the circumstances, and we'll appreciate the critique that will come along with it. But I want to welcome you to join me in this journey, that there should be no room for excuses, because we want to do the best for this county. And all of us are here for a purpose. So I would want to be remembered that I did something while I was in that office. So once again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to appear before you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our nominee, Robert LOYELEI, for attending this interview. We are happy. You have kept us attentive. You have answered questions. We are also glad. I want to thank everybody again, once more, the Secretariat, this time the public, and sincerely the honorable members, actually for turning out in this good number and presenting the candidate with questions. So we're happy. We want to thank everybody. So, brother, we hope that you have done your best. So pray so hard that this thing finishes the rest of the work, and I think all shall go well. So thank you so much. May you please, may Sergeant present this to him. So thank you, Bob LOYELEI. Thank you. You are free to leave. Have a good day.